Away from being back in the conference finals for the first time since 2000. They get it behind 39 points from Jalen Brunson. But of course, the unfortunate story of this game is Jason Tatum. On this play right here, he goes down with appears to be a non-contact injury and just absolutely collapses in an extreme amount of pain there. When he leaves the floor, he's not able to put any weight on it. You can see here just in absolute anguish in a game that he tied Larry Bird and John Havlicek for the most 40-point games in a postseason in Celtics franchise history. This is the way that he leaves the floor. Just gutting to see here, Brian, both as a basketball fan and just for Jason Tatum. Your heart goes out to him.
Yeah, this is a seminal night in the NBA. A lot of fortunes changed hands tonight. And the Knicks were brilliant in this second half, especially. They got contributions up and down their lineup. They got the game to clutch time, which is their mission. Mikal Bridges was amazing. Jalen Brunson carried them home. But the pit in the stomach is what we have in the defending champ and Jason Tatum, because Tatum was having an elite game. He was having a big fourth quarter. This was going to be potentially an iconic finish. And now the whole thing just feels deflating because, you know, I'm sure 7th Avenue right now in New York, I'm sure it's wild outside the Garden. I'm sure the fans are embracing this moment. And it is a moment to be embraced by the Knicks and their fans. But there's a dark cloud hanging over this, and that's what you can't get away from right now.
Jason Tatum finished with 42 points in this game. And as we just heard from Jalen Brunson, there is still at least one more game left to be played in this series. The Knicks are hoping to close this out. If, in fact, the Boston Celtics have to do it without Jason Tatum, who are you looking toward?
Well, they have the talent. You know, they're one of the most deepest teams in the top of the talent pool. Jaylen Brown did not have a good game tonight. He had foul trouble, was benched down the stretch because of it. Jaylen Brown has not had a good series by his standards. The door would be open for him to really come back and try to rescue the team. The concern that you have, obviously, is whether this is potentially a long-term thing for Tatum. And so you're thinking about that as much as you are thinking about this series. So the Celtics have proven that they can overcome odds. They've come back from situations before. The Knicks obviously respect that. But this is also a golden opportunity because, Malika, Indiana is up 3-1 in that series. That means that the Knicks, who in my view had the hardest draw of all teams in the playoffs, potentially are one win away with the Pacers win as well from having home court in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Game 5 is Wednesday. Of course, we will be joined by Shams Charania if we get any update or information here on Jason Tatum. This has been an exceptional postseason, Brian. Unfortunately, a couple of star injuries have popped up here, including in our late game tonight. The Golden State Warriors playing once again without Steph Curry, trying to even the series against the Minnesota Timberwolves. What will this come down to?
Yeah, so the Warriors just need offense. They need scoring. I know Jonathan Kuminga has picked it up the last couple of games, but they need something from their backcourt. Brandon Pajemski, Moses Moody, Buddy Hield need big games tonight. And if you're the Wolves, you smell blood in the water here. You get this victory going home 3-1. You're in great position to try to close it out. So Ant Edwards has been in this position before. They've had success on the road. They've closed out teams on the road with big wins. You know he and Julius Randle are going to try to build on their great success coming down the stretch.
This is as must win as it gets for the Golden State Warriors.
I think so. I'm afraid to say it, yeah. Because you have to get to Game 6, and you got to try to do it on your home court.
And they know it. The Timberwolves know it as well, and they're going to try to stop that from happening. We've got Game 4 from Chase Center coming up right after this.
Changing the trajectory of this game as they go on to win 121-113. Tatum, before leaving the game late in the fourth quarter with a 42-point performance, he looked spectacular, looked like he found his groove here in the game before exiting. Meanwhile, Jalen Brunson leading things for the Knickerbockers, 39 points, 5 rebounds, 12 assists as the Knicks go on to take Game 4, 121-113. We welcome in CBS Sports NBA analyst John Gonzalez alongside former NBA coach and player Avery Johnson. And fellas, I feel like we cannot start this conversation without discussing Jason Tatum and what we saw happen there late in the fourth. And even despite the Celtics trying to fight back late, Tatum had a fantastic night, putting up 42 points before going down on that non-contact injury. Visibly upset, visibly in pain. But coach, just how crushing was that injury to the Celtics, considering that is your superstar who maybe hasn't had such a great series, but it seemed like he was finding his groove there.
Yeah, he was definitely finding his groove. This guy was sensational tonight. Sure, he had a couple of questionable shots maybe in the fourth quarter, but they wouldn't have even been in position to win this game without Jason Tatum. Listen, my first year in the NBA was 1988. I spent 16 years in the league playing, close to 10 years coaching. I'm not going to assume what this injury is, but historically, when these types of situations happen, it's somewhat of an Achilles. Hopefully it's not. Hopefully it's a severe ankle sprain. Didn't really look like it. I'm trying to be positive because I know this young man. My son is great friends with Jason Tatum. But historically, when you see this type of reaction, it's something that's going to take a while for him to recover from.
Yeah, I'd say it was brutal to watch. I mean, Tatum he was cooking tonight. It wasn't a great series for him, at least efficiency-wise, prior to tonight. And tonight, Kiana, you're absolutely right. He did find his groove. He looked fantastic. He was leading the Celtics. The rest of the Celtics outside of Derek White were struggling. But here comes Jason Tatum. Everybody was waiting to see the Jason Tatum game. We saw it tonight. He was unbelievable, unguardable, 42 points and 8 rebounds and 4 assists, and he had 4 steals and 2 blocks. He was everywhere. And he took a couple of shots from 3 that I think probably he would want back, but he even made 7 of his 16 3-pointers. And then when he crumpled to the ground, we don't want to assume on this. Maybe it's a calf strain, best case scenario, but to see him in the back of the arena, first he gets helped off of the floor, and then he's in a wheelchair and he's covering his face. And you hate to see it because Jason Tatum, just the other day, he was asked about how he's played in this series. And unlike a lot of players, he said, look, I get the criticism. I do need to play better. I'm not going to let that bother me. I'm not going to be angry about it. I'm going to just try to play better. I thought it was just a really adult, professional answer. He's a likable guy. He was trying to correct how he was playing. He did tonight. And then for him to go down, it's a brutal blow for him. And it's an absolute crusher for the Celtics, who are now down 3-1. And only 13 teams in NBA history have come back and recovered for that. And just, it couldn't have been a worst case scenario for the Celtics tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially coming off such a monster performance that he had, leaving in a wheelchair. Obviously, we're all just even fans of the game, hoping for the best for Jason Tatum, because we certainly want to see him suit up this series. But guys, on the other side of this matchup, I mean, I feel like I got to start naming the Knicks the comeback kids, because this is another game. They're down double digits. They claw their way back from the win, trailed by 14 in the third, had that 37-point third quarter, the most points they have scored in a quarter this postseason. John, what impressed you the most with the Knicks' performance this time around?
The resilience, right? They did it in game 1, came back from down 20. They did it in game 2, came back from down 20. Then they're down 14 in the second half. And you mentioned that third quarter, Kiana. Well, who was it in the third quarter? No surprise here, Mr. Clutch himself, Jalen Brunson. He had 39 points tonight, 18 in the third quarter, Kiana. He was fantastic. And then the supporting cast, Karl Anthony Towns, his best game of the series by far, certainly the most efficient. And I thought Mikal Bridges was just unbelievable. You had Jalen Brunson in the third quarter. Mikal Bridges comes along in the fourth quarter while Jalen Brunson is getting a little rest, and he just takes that lead and helps them build on it. He had 23 points and 7 rebounds and 3 assists. And then defensively, 4 steals, a massive steal in the fourth quarter. He had a block. OG Anunoby had another big steal late in the fourth quarter. These guys, the comeback kids is perfect for these guys. First win in the series for a home team. And it's because the Knicks just don't quit. They don't care how much they're down. They just kept plugging in on a night when Jason Tatum really had it going before that injury. The Knicks said, you know what, we're going to do it as a team. And they just kept after it. And they get a win, and they're on the verge of making it to the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time in 25 years.
Mikal Bridges, Karl Anthony Towns, and Jalen Brunson all made 11 or more field goals. OG Anunoby made 8. Those 4 guys were the big 4, dominated the game. They only needed 10 points off their bench. John made some outstanding points. Those guys were very efficient overall. I thought Mikal Bridges was terrific on both ends of the floor. And when he's scoring and playing the way he did when he helped the Phoenix Suns a couple of years ago make it to the NBA Finals, that's the Mikal Bridges that we saw. But hey, captain closer, Mr. Cool himself. I coached against this young man, Jalen Brunson, and we thought we were going to beat him in the NCAA tournament back in 2018. He did the same thing. You play 2 halves in college basketball, but what's equivalent to the third quarter, the first 10 minutes of the second half? Man, this guy put on the show along with Mikal Bridges and a guy that's with Minnesota, Dante DiVincenzo. So captain closer was phenomenal. I'm really impressed with this New York Knicks victory.
Captain closer, because this isn't the first time we've seen him really turn on those burners in the second half. But guys, Celtics headed home, game 5. But let's be honest, things looking a little grim for Boston with their all-star going down. But we've seen games when it comes to the Celtics team where even when Jason Tatum's not having a great night, you see Jaylen Brown pick up the slack. We found ways for them to turn things up when they need to and their backs are against the wall. But Coach, what's your expectations as we head into a must-win elimination game 5 for the C's?
I'm going to see if you guys agree with me on this. I'm going to zero in on Jrue Holiday. I am a big Jrue Holiday fan. You know, what he did in Milwaukee, 2 Olympic gold medals. We wouldn't have won it without him. Boston last year in the finals, while Jaylen Brown was MVP, Tatum was getting credit. I thought the glue was Jrue Holiday. And when they need him to score 20 or 25 points or 18 points and play that outstanding defense, he's got to step up in a major way. I mean, in a serious way in this next game if Boston wants to keep their playoff hopes alive and hopes of winning this series. So he's the guy that I'm zeroing in on. Peyton Pritchard, obviously, is going to have to play well. But, those 42 points that Jason Tatum and what he does on both ends of the floor is hard to replace. So I'm expecting that Jason Tatum is going to be out for the remainder of this series and potentially the remainder of the playoffs. We haven't gotten word on that yet. I want to jump the gun. But if he is, Jrue Holiday's got to step up.
John, what's your take?
Yeah, I totally agree with Avery. I mean, Jrue Holiday is a fantastic player. For whatever reason, Drew's offensive game this season hasn't been his best. He's definitely having a down year offensively, but he can still influence the game in so many different ways. Defensively, he's still really good, super switchable, and he's an excellent passer. He has to get involved. Al Horford didn't have a good game. He's been pressed into starter duty because Kristaps Porzingis, something's still going on with him. He hasn't looked like himself. They're going to need Al Horford to step forward, whatever they can get out of Kristaps Porzingis. And then ultimately, it really probably does come down to Jaylen Brown, who has not been very good efficiency-wise in this series. He had 20 and 7 tonight. That's fine in terms of the counting stats, but he's going to have to really level up. Don't forget, this is the Finals MVP from last year. When they hung banner number 18, it was Jaylen Brown who was stepping forward, and it was Tatum who was playing 1A to his 1. So now, if Tatum can't go, and it doesn't look like he will be able to, as Avery said, we'll wait to find out about that. Jaylen Brown has to absolutely shake off the rust there and be efficient and be the Finals MVP caliber player that he was last year if they have any chance of keeping their season alive. I don't think it's over for the Boston Celtics. They're really deep. They're really good. They can all shoot. They can all defend. But yeah, their backs are up against the wall. 3-1 is not a spot that you want to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, they've got depth. They've got players, but who is going to step up to the call when their backs are against the wall as they are facing elimination at home at TD Garden? Avery and John, as always, we appreciate that insight. Well, take a look at the Celtics when they're trailing in a series 2-0. They've lost 4 straight series.
What's your favorite team? Comment below, and if you like the video, please leave a like. This really helps the channel grow and brings you even more content. Oh, and if you're not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Click the subscribe button and activate the bell to receive all notifications. With each game, we notice that the NBA is getting more competitive every day, and all the teams are looking for reinforcements to win the championship. And only here can you follow your favorite team daily with incredible content from different sources. Here on the channel, there are new videos every day with analysis, curiosities, and the best moments in basketball. That's it for today, folks. Thanks for following along. The NBA doesn't stop, and neither do we. Until the next video. NBA, the passion that connects us.